What is going on, good people? This is the happy hour in the land. I'm Gomer, that's the professor, and this is a place where we get together, we talk about Northeast Ohio sports, sometimes America sports. Who knows? We're wild cards. But we talk about sports, and then this is a place for all Northeast Ohio sports fans that can come, get together, commiserate, talk sports, have our own little group therapy session with liquid libations, of course.
Well, what
Professor,
are you drinking
today,
today, bud?
What are you drinking
How about
today?
that? Same birds of a feather. Well, again, you know me. I'm a big fan of old fashioned, so I've got another old fashioned here with Angel's Envy. Big fan. I do drink other things, folks, I swear, but when you have a good one. Now, Gome, you always have some interesting brew or beer, local beer. What do you got today, bud?
I have from the Market Garden Brewery. I have the Shandy.
Summertime. Good to have a shandy in the summertime.
I'll say I cannot fast forward enough into the summertime, so I'm just bringing the Shandy to me. Now, of course, I do have to say, if you're under the age of 21, you can grab a pop. You don't have to have the liquid. Your liquid libation can be fun too without it being like this. But you know what? Drink responsibly. That's all I gotta say. So cheers.
Cheers to you and fans at home. Gome, now free agency is blown up,
That's
but
good.
Before that, right, we have baseball, and you just told us, man, fans in Northeast Ohio got to start thinking about the spring. Let's talk some baseball classic, man. What are your thoughts? What have you seen so far? What's the good, the bad, the ugly, bud?
Well, it's crazy. Right now, to me, the big baseball thing of the spring is the World Baseball Classic, right? So I'm very excited about the Baseball Classic going on. There's just, to me, it's so exciting that we're in March and there's just baseball that means something, right? I love watching spring training just for other reasons, watching players that are going to come up, maybe someday be on the Guardians. I love watching that, but at the same time, World Baseball Classic, it means something. And not just to America, to the world, right? I don't know if you saw the walk-off home run that Puerto Rico hit the other night. Those fans were bananas. That meant something to them. And just to see the crowd go like that, the celebrations in March, I love it. I love it. So I'm very happy the World Baseball Classic is here. But of course, there are some storylines going on right now. USA playing, they made the quarterfinals, but almost didn't make the quarterfinals.
Italy.
Almost didn't. But so the news of that, right, is the manager, Mark DeRosa. The news is he didn't know that they almost got eliminated. He thought that they already punched, in his words, punched their ticket to the quarterfinals, and they didn't. And so in that last game against Italy, he benched some players that maybe were in the starting lineup in the first two games. And they didn't come out with a win. They actually went down 8-0 at one point to Italy. It's rough, man.
It's the classic. Do you rest them or do you not rest them? Right, with that little bit of twist of, that they already punched their ticket. But how many times have we seen it, man? Do you rest your players, even if it's a long season and it's just one game? Hey, man, you're in the flow. Isn't that right, Gome? I mean, you got to get them out there at least for one or two at bats, right? Keeping the rhythm, because now, right, as you said, it's baseball games that matter. Now, how rusty are they going to be? It's a tough decision, but I think this is another example of let them play, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, you got to get your backups in to make sure that they're warm a little bit too, because I mean, like that was a big player of the Italy game was PCA, right? Pete Crow Armstrong. He came in, hit a big home run, got them on the board. They inched closer. They eventually lost 8-6, which is a little victory. Obviously not a huge victory, but it was a little victory that they got.
They didn't give
6
up.
runs.
That's a victory,
Yeah.
right? They didn't
And
give
that-
up.
and
I'm
that
hearing
helped.
you.
And that helped with the tiebreakers and stuff. But the manager comes out and says, we already punched their ticket. And then after the game says, I misspoke. I completely misread the calculations. And then today it just came out that he's like, oh man, people are reading into that much. I knew we weren't in, I knew it. But I was like, man, you said I completely misread the calculations. And you said that we already punched our ticket. But yet you're also saying, oh, people are looking into this much. I did know it. I didn't know it. Now, I don't blame this guy because you know what? just being youth baseball, right? We go to these tournaments in wherever, all over Ohio. We go to these tournaments, and we're doing the same thing, right? We're watching the brackets, we're watching other games. All right, this is what's going to happen. If this happens, we're going to be the 2 seed. If this team loses, we're gonna make the tournament. And I mean, they should have a college class on it. I mean, they should have a college class to teach exactly how to read the calculations if your team makes the bracket or not. It's crazy how weird it is, but yeah, I get the USA manager probably should know, or probably even shouldn't talk until he learns. That's something maybe that he should learn exactly how close they are to making it. Now, of course, luckily, Italy surprisingly beat Mexico also, and when they went up 6-0, that meant that we were in already. The game wasn't even over yet, and we were in. So that's exciting. Now, we didn't get the 1 seed, but I'm actually kind of glad we didn't get the 1 seed, because if we were the 1 seed, we'd be playing Puerto Rico. I'm scared of Puerto Rico. I mean, they're a good team. But now we're the 2 seed. We play Canada. Canada? Who cares about Canada? I'm just kidding. Canada's a good team. I'm just kidding.
They're good, but I mean, come on, Puerto Rico, isn't that where half of the MLB comes from? I'm with you, man. Thank God, not Puerto Rico. Give me some Canadians. I mean, hell, we beat them in hockey. Was that? Hold on, going.
No, you didn't.
No,
you didn't.
If we beat them in their sport, are they going to come down and be, oh, go USA? Keep up the wins against Canada. Don't let them beat us at our own sport like we just did to them.
And it's surprising too that Puerto Rico, to me, I'm surprised. I don't know every player on the team, but I think Lindor, Carlos Correa aren't on the team because of the insurance problems that they had. They couldn't get insurance to play on those teams, so they couldn't play in the World Baseball Classic. And I think there were some other players too that they were actually considering not fielding a team for the World Baseball Classic because of all the insurance problems and not being able to fill out the roster. But obviously that didn't matter, because they went 3-1 in pool play, and now they're in the number 1 seed coming out of, or no, they're the 2 seed. I think Canada's the 1 seed coming out of that bracket. But against Canada, they got some good players up there. I'm excited to see them, and I'm excited to beat them again.
Excellent. But your story, I think it goes back to what we were talking about. Even the resting the players or not, the money has become so ridiculous, right? That again, you have to have insurance on these players. And what are we talking about here? We're talking about a game. We're talking about international baseball. This is meant to try and unite us. You know what I mean? Whatever. Remember the Olympics, folks? Hey, here's the history professor, created to try and create peace among the nationals, right? Stuff like that. So it's supposed to be good sportsmen, cooperation, try to push through the political BS. But unfortunately, right, we still see pieces of that, right? The guy from Mexico went out to shake hands. I'm sorry if I'm jumping the story there for you, but it's baseball. Let them play. There's supposed to be a bigger picture here, but maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm not thinking, dollar signs like I should be.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about the sportsmanship thing. But I want to ask you first, though. We were talking about baseball and like not playing it and whatnot. The really the biggest news for the USA baseball, and this has been on my mind going back and forth about Tarek Skubal. He came out, pitched a pretty good game. He didn't pitch great. He gave up a leadoff home run, but he actually kind of locked down after that. But he said he was one and done. He was going to pitch one game and then be done. And he came out and pitched, like I said, and he didn't realize the excitement. He didn't realize the energy that's going to be there. And he wanted to come back, but he was afraid of like ramping it up too early. He was getting hurt because I don't know if you remember who was the Tribe pitcher years ago, Italian name, started with a P, like Pastino or something like that. Or our pitcher, he blew his arm out in the World Baseball Classic. That was years ago. He was one of our good setup guys.
I do remember.
And I apologize. I'll put his name right here. Okay. So, but he was worried about that, and he was trying to set up how many, his starts, because he's going to be starting opening day. So he was trying to set up a start so he would be fresh and ready to go in opening day, and they couldn't figure it out. And he said, "Yeah, I'm done." He was going to pitch more, but he said I was done. What do you think about that? The pitcher not pitching the World Baseball Classic, that obviously could help us.
Exactly. Thank you. I just didn't want to cut you. It's a great question, and we're always getting back to this. Do you play him or do you not play him? And for me, I think what we're doing is we're talking about the individual player has to decide what is more important to them. The bigger picture, like I was talking about, unity, bringing the team together, helping out your nation, or the individual goal of, hey, got to pay rent, right? And I find it hard to find anybody that will argue against the notion that you have to pay rent. So I think these athletes are getting paid so much ungodly money that I would like to see them try to do something a little bit bigger than themselves. But at the end of the day, if they get hurt, if they're not pitching the last half of the season, if they're not helping a team make a playoff run, you could see how that might hurt them. But at the end of the day, right, how much money do you need? So I totally see it as an individual thing. I personally would like to see the baseball, them leaning more towards the international and, hey, let your personal contract go. But this is America, man. You got to make your money, But that's why I like those free agents who, not to jump the shark, right? But Kyler Murray's clearly made some money, right? Does he want to make money, or does he want to try and get a winning team? And for me personally, just me personally, I respect those that have made their money and are saying, you know what, it's about more than money. And that's how I saw the baseball, baseball World Series kind of thing. And I love how the fact you reminded me, buddy, there is a difference between playoff baseball atmosphere and just regular baseball atmosphere, right? And that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love spring training. I'm going in a couple days, right? But it's not going to be fall playoff baseball like you and I were at. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. How awesome it was to feel that crowd, and it wasn't 1,000,000,000 degrees. That was nice as well. So I think it's individual. I'm rooting for that, but I don't really blame them. You got to pay the rent, man. But how about something bigger than yourself? That's what I vote for. I think it's better for the person as well.
Well, yeah, that's and Paul Skeens too. I love Paul Skeens because he actually has been lobbying for over a year to be on this team and to pitch for this team. There's pictures of him in the USA baseball garb from years ago because he was so pumped up. So he came out and pitched fantastic. Oh man, he pitched so good. And it's sad that it's so early in the season that he couldn't pitch a complete game. But again, you got to make sure that his arm doesn't fall off and he's ready to go for those Pirates. You don't know what they're going to do this year, but very, very exciting for him. And hopefully, I don't know if it lines up that he can pitch again, just the way it lines up. I don't know. We'll see that for sure coming up. But, the one bad thing I talked about, the one bad thing that I saw for the World Baseball Classic, and the one that kind of got me was the Randy Arozarena, the leadoff hitter from Mexico, came up to shake Cal Raleigh's hand, and Cal Raleigh would not shake his hand. And apparently, I don't know if anyone's talked to Cal Raleigh yet. I have not seen that if they have. But through Randy Arozarena's translator, he said that Cal Raleigh told him, "Nice to see you." And after the game, he didn't have very nice things to say about Cal Raleigh. He said he can stick it up his, he actually said the word, and, basically that he can go to hell. And there are rumors that it's possibly a setup, that it's not real, that they're just kind of playing around because they are teammates on the Seattle Mariners. So I'm hoping to God that was a setup. But the thing that bothers me about it is they need to make sure people know it's a setup because they are teammates and because this is USA baseball. Like I said, people are watching all over the country. They're watching this. The kids are watching this. I coached baseball teams for a while. And the thing I tried to hone the most is good sportsmanship. If someone says something, just, show up and hit, show up and field, show up and just show them, instead of using your mouth, use your bat, use your glove. And right, exactly. And I just have a problem with showing the youth of America that, I'm not going to shake your hand because you know what? People talk about that, Larry Bird, how Larry Bird was just a monster on the court, the biggest trash talker, and that he would not be your friend in any instance because he needed that to be competitive. He needed that to be better. But then in the offseason, apparently that he was friends with Magic on the offseason.
Yep. Biggest heart. And don't we see that again with a little bit more? I love the Larry Bird, but isn't that what we're saying? Isn't that what everybody has said about Baker Mayfield? Again, I'm not trying to bash him at all. I'm trying to say that they all say that when Baker has that edge, isn't that what you're talking about, right? It needs a little bit of that fire, right?
Yeah.
To compete, to get up to that level. Because let's be honest, man, these are the pros. And I'd much rather you do a little, self-adrenaline pumping up than, the needle. Because then that's really going too far. But I hear you, and I love it. I love how you're talking about baseball in March mattering, right? And all of this stuff. You're right. It's great to bookend a baseball season like this. I love it.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about like needing that competitive edge, like to me, baseball's a gentleman's sport. You shouldn't need that in baseball. It's not like you're playing one on one and like you do in basketball. It's not like you're playing against like right at a guy. Maybe the pitcher, maybe, but especially not the catcher. But to me, it's just being a gentleman's sport, showing good sportsmanship, and for them to not shake hands, it really, really did bother me. Especially the big thing too is Cal Raleigh as that kind of competitor. I would not want to give my competitor that chip on his shoulder. I would not make him mad and be like, now he's mad at you, and now he has something that is going to make him compete a little bit better. I don't want to give that to that guy. I want to make sure that he's as good as possible. And you know what? If I have to shake his hand and still keep that competitive edge of myself, and then maybe give him the finger in my mind, that's what I need to do. I don't want to give my opponent any extra fuel. I don't want to say anything to give him bulletin board material.
Makes perfect
That
sense.
yeah, that bothers me. That really
But
does bother me.
I don't know, man. But you said, but what'd you lead off with? You lead off with, I don't know, they're teammates. Maybe this is made up. Bro, if you and I were playing each other in different leagues, I would totally fuck with you. I
Oh
would
yeah,
totally fuck with you because we've been friends forever and you would know, this is just because you said you were a manager and you said you teach sportsmanship. And I'm so glad to hear that. And I hope everybody else does that. But I'll bet dollars to donuts right underneath sportsmanship is have fun. And that me effing with you, that would be me having fun.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I would make sure that everybody knows that we're having fun. Maybe not in the moment. Like I would mess with you, but like after the game in the
Oh
press,
yeah,
like
big hug just to let them.
I
Well, maybe it's coming. Maybe there'll be at the end. There'll be a
I
little.
wouldn't tell them. I wouldn't tell the media that guy can go to hell, or
That might be a bit far. Yeah,
kiss my whatever. I wouldn't say that. So I'm
I
hoping
don't.
I'm hoping they're having fun, but
I don't know. You
because I
got a
mean
potty
it's
mouth.
gonna
You
be
probably would,
it's gonna be awkward when they get to back to spring training when this is over.
unless they're
That's
messing
gonna
with
be
each
awkward.
other.
I'm
Unless they're
hoping they
messing
are.
with each other.
I'm hoping they are. I really do. I hope they are messing with each other. If not, man, the Mariners just got a bad mixture. Those two-star players, essentially. I don't know.
I'm going baseball's more fun and they try to keep it fun and this is maybe more people maybe not the best way of trying to keep it interesting because I think you make a really good point with the youth in the baseball. What kind of example are you setting? Even if they come out a week or two later and said it was all a joke, I think you've got some valid points. It might be a little too late by then.
Yeah, I think
But
it
I
would be.
don't know, man. I just feel baseball. I feel it's spring. It's it's more positive than negative, and these guys do know each other. So I'm voting for healthy ribbing, like you wish you could do to me. But if we played, right, obviously I would strike you out, even though I've never pitched before.
Well, see, you can tell me that, but I would let my bat talk. I would let my bat talk.
There you go. You would have
But two
second
things come to
pitch.
mind. Two things come to mind was I forgot it was Odor. It was the Rangers where they had the big fist fight at second base, and I forgot it was Odor and somebody else. I can't remember who the second player was, but they slid that player slid in the second when Jason Kipnis was there, and Jason Kipnis went just to mess with him, and I think that
See,
was hilarious.
fun. But it's not like
And after
hockey when they get in a fight, right? They really fight. By the way, right? Columbus Blue Jackets beat Tampa Bay Lightning last night 5-2, and there was some good fighting. In fact, much love to Tampa Bay number 67. Goma, I've never seen it before. Two guys were about to start fighting, and number 67 of Tampa Bay just comes in real quick, like Joe Pesci, right in the super. Or my cousin Vinny, just real quick shot, and then kept skating around. So it was really cool. But it's not hockey, baseball, right? Those guys are not padded up like that, and so it's not the same. But what do you think? Maybe it should. What if baseball? I don't think so. They would hurt each other, man. I don't go to baseball games to see each. Although I did see when I was a kid, the Tribe charged the mound against the Boston Red Sox in like the second inning. So that was an interesting game for the rest of the day.
well, interesting stat too for hockey is you're more likely to see a fight in the first period than you are in the third period. Just a
Yeah. Yeah, third period did go by pretty quick. I was hoping that maybe they'd let him go one more time, but it was a good game. Good game for the Blue Jacket or for Columbus, that's for sure. 5-2 against Tampa.
Zach Werenski with the golden assist to get the gold medal. Just want to point that out. Your Blue Jackets had a part in the big play. Coming up, we have a big game now. So we now play Canada. We had a
Yes.
big game against Mexico. Like I said, like I mentioned before, Skeens pitched magnificently against Mexico, and Judge, Captain America, came through. And you know what? I'll ask you this question because this is a topic in our own family about Judge hitting the home run. We cheered, right? We were so excited that Judge hit that home run against Mexico, and my dad was not feeling the same way. Our feeling here in the household is I will root for Judge right now, but this is the only time I get to root for Judge.
I hear you
My
100%.
my dad's theory is he's a Yankee. I can never root for him.
And I get that. And I knew that's where you're going. But for me, right, I'm a little different generation than your dad. And I go to the Major League movies. Remember Major League 2? I think it was about the Chicago White Sox. Boy, what a difference a change of uniform can do for a guy.
Jack Parkman, the
Yes,
shimmy
sir.
that the women hate.
Women at the shimmy, right? So that is 100% how I feel about Aaron Judge. Change his uniform, I'm a totally different fan, right? So for America, fuck yeah, man, you blast that. Once you're in the pinstripes, hey, you should go yourself, Judge, you son of a nice payroll, Yankees. Speaking of baseball,
I will never forget the playoff series where Roberto Alomar came in to play us, and it was right. This is right after he spit on the umpire when he was with Toronto
for that night,
and he came in
90s.
and in Cleveland was booed like the big loud boo, and the next year he was playing for us, and people were cheering like crazy, and like I was like, you were just booing him a couple months ago. I was cheering though, that's for sure. I just thought that
change of the uniform can do wonders. And Jack Bartman, excellent example from Major League 2. Good job calling his name, bro.
You talk about these Yankees and these teams that we hate, and there's teams all over like that team up north. I can't stand Leroy Horde. I'm a fan of him, but he played up there. But there's another team that I can't stand that was just in the news, and that is the Baltimore Ravens. And it just seems when you have these teams that you can't stand, they always come out like they do something dirty and they come out clean. And it infuriates me. Let's just talk about that team up north, right? They had that whole scandal where they're cheating, but they won the national championship and they weren't vacated wins, but we got some tattoos we had to vacate wins. But they actually cheated on the field and they don't have to vacate wins. But I digress. Sorry, that it's a whole nother show.
But that goes to show how strong Cleveland and Ohio fans are. In fact, I've got some friends now. The phrase is, quote, that tracks.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, how I wanted that center from the Ravens, Lindenbaum. We didn't get him. He goes to the Raiders. Raiders pay a shit ton of money. That tracks.
$81 million.
Oh, you saw that, right? When that hey, again, Lindenbaum, much love for you. Good that the Raiders will have a rookie quarterback with a strong center, but that's what I wanted. But you know what? I'm okay. Hey, Barry, don't pay that guy. What was it? He's the highest paid offensive lineman. Isn't it something like $30 million a year?
Highest paid center ever.
You earned it, buddy.
Ever.
Take it. We'll draft a center or one of our guys. The free agents. I'm sorry, are we getting ahead of it? One of the guys is a guard and a center, so maybe we'll be okay.
Well, the big news from the Baltimore Ravens is that they traded for Max Crosby, which I was like, that's going to hurt. They got Max Crosby now, but they had to give up 2 first-round picks, and the Ravens apparently have never used their first-round picks to trade for a player.
Never.
So the rumor is they traded for Max Crosby, but then the rumor is that the agent for Trey Hendrickson called him up and said, we'd love to sign with you guys if you got the room. And all of a sudden the Ravens are, but we have this trade. How can we make this go away? So he mysteriously fails his physical with an injury that they knew about with his meniscus, because his meniscus was hurting last year. So they knew about this injury coming into the trade.
he had major surgery last year, didn't he? So there's no way this thing wasn't known. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your flow, right? But it was major surgery, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know if he had surgery, but I know he was playing through it or playing on it because the Raiders actually rested him the last game or two. People actually accusing the Raiders of tanking. People are now. I hope they look back and like, oh, maybe the Raiders weren't tanking that they benched him because he actually had an injury. But I think that the Ravens knew about it. So they come in like, but Trey Hendrickson now wants to sign with us. So they ex-nayed the deal. They voided the deal because he didn't pass his physical. And then the very next day, Trey Hendrickson signs with the Ravens, and now they don't have to give up 2 first-round picks. And I just think it's dirty. Dirty. I think they knew it all along, and they're coming out squeaky clean. They do something dangerous like that,
And that
and
tracks, right?
yeah, and that tracks. That they
That
get away
tracks.
with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was all excited when the Max Crosby deal fell apart. Although I was like, hey, 2 first rounders. But hey, I don't know. Doesn't seem bad if he's healthy. But that's how I knew right away that there was that lingering injury, right? 30 is not what it used to be 30. So he's still healthy. And he's a dog, right? Going, wouldn't you love to have that guy on your team? Love you, Miles Garrett.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't Miles Garrett over Miles Crosby, but still, Miles Crosby, even if I didn't have Miles, a beast, a dog, a guy who is, he's a gym rat and just a football stud. So when the Ravens signed him, I was like, that seems about right. Hell, they got Derrick Henry, right? The running back. You're like one of the big beast running backs for the free agency last year. So this would make sense. But when it fell through, I was like, oh my God, we're winning one back to Cleveland. And then Trey Henderson, I think it's 4 years, right? And no draft picks. So,
Right.
but
I know.
Baltimore also lost their head coach, their offensive coordinator, their defensive coordinator, their offensive line, their tight end coach. I think their tight end coach lost their tight end, right? Went to the Giants, lost their center, went to the Raiders. So, maybe Ravens have got some bigger problems next year, i.e., can you protect your quarterback?
I hope. That would be great. That would be
Great if
great.
they can't protect him, right? And Miles Garrett
I mean,
gets
that'd be great if he breaks a leg.
player of the year, 4 years. That would be cool.
But speaking of protecting our quarterback, right? The Browns, they made a splash in free agency. We have at least 3 offensive linemen that we traded for Titus Howard, right? So that was a 5th round pick, which yeah, take it.
Oh my gosh, Kenny Pickett or Howard, an offensive lineman that we desperately need, right? Because that's what we got for trading. We paid 5th round for Kenny Pickett, and then we got 5th round back, and now we just turned it into an offensive lineman. And let's be fair, Gome. This isn't just a guard, right? He's got experience playing guard and tackle, and he's
Mhm.
only 29 years old. You gotta admit, Barry is trying to keep the Browns relatively young. And when I see the offensive line, I see the signings that he did. I think one of them is approaching 30, but 29-year-old here, 26-year-old from the Chargers, and then a 2-time Pro Bowler, right, from Green Bay, I think. So filling some holes, very excited about it. I know I just went over them real quick. Who do you like, or which signing do you like the most?
Well, so far I do like the Jenkins one just because he can play center. I think that's always a position you got to fill, right? Whippler, I think, was supposed to be our center this year, but he got hurt in the last game of the season, so we don't know really his timetable when he's going to be back. So we do still need a center. So I think this Jenkins from the Packers, I think, is pretty good.
2-time Pro Bowler from the Packers. Don't forget that, Gome. 2-time
Of
Pro
course,
Bowler.
yeah.
And again, for those of you that are home that never heard of these guys, my initial comment is good. If you have an offensive lineman that's doing their job, then you
Yeah,
don't
right.
hear about them, right? Unless they're
Right.
Hall of Fame. Joe Thomas, love you a ton, right? Absolutely. Right from the get-go, we could tell Joe was going to be a Hall of Famer, right? But these guys, if you never heard about them, good. That means they're doing their job. And I like what Gome is saying. Not just a guard. He's also played center, 2-time Pro Bowler. I think how old is Edgerton? Do you know? Well, you're
No,
gonna look at
no,
that
I
up
do not.
because I know the other guy, right? The guy from the Chargers, right? Although he was let go and he's young, I think that was more of a cap hit. The veteran guard Johnson, Zion
Yeah,
Johnson,
yeah,
right? Because he was
yeah.
rated the second best guard in free agency. And hello, Cleveland, you got the second best guard in free agency. And I think the left tackle from Green Bay, what's his name, Jackson? might still be available.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Barry may not be done. But again, you know who I like in the
Well,
draft. I like that left tackle. Draft that mother 24.
well, that will be huge, right? If we've gotten at least right a guard, a tackle, and a center, and we have one tackle, Dewan Jones, still on the roster. So it's like if we get another guard, or Batonio finally makes a decision and decides to come back, that would be the
Please.
biggest one. If Batonio comes back, we have essentially an offensive line. We also re-signed one of our backups, Tevin Jenkins, or not Jenkins, but we re-signed one of our backups from last year. So like we're starting to have line. So yeah, right. Maybe with our first pick in the draft, maybe we don't take a lineman. Right. We've been talking about like these guys. Fanow from Utah, and Maui Goa from
Yep.
Miami.
But those are both guards, Gome. Those are both guards. And now that they picked up these at number 6, like before, I was all for it. Get a guard. I don't care if it's guard and it's number 6. We need, right? Give me a Pro Bowler on the offensive line. Joe Batonio. Yes, please. But now that they got this many, maybe wide receiver, who's the number 1 in the land from the Ohio State. I love those offensive linemen that you mentioned. But with these signings, it's not a tackle, right? Joe Thomas went 3. I think New England's left tackle from last was like number 4. And this year, there's no solid left tackle. So you got versatility in your free agency. Maybe you don't have to take one of those guards that high. And remember, I will say on the counter, though, I love you, Tate. I hope we get you. But this is a deep class in wide receiver. So, Gome, what if they could get Tate in the first round and then get another starter in the 4th round?
Well, yeah. And even though I was even hoping that they could get a wide receiver in the first pick and the second pick in the first round, they can take this Caleb Lomu from Utah. He's a left tackle. That might be a good move as well.
He's
so you
not
can
bad.
Still have a left tackle, but yeah.
You know, I like Friedman, but I don't know if he's going to be there at 24 anymore. And he's way too high to get at 6. I would so I'm with you, right? But that's why we watched the draft, because I was talking to my buddy the other day. Dallas needs a little help on defense. They got 2 first-round draft picks. What if they traded the 12 and the 20 for our 6? Then you can go get a special defensive guy. And the Browns, who are looking for offensive linemen who don't go in the first 10, right? You're starting to pick where I'm putting down, right? 10, 20, and then our 24. Give me 2 offensive linemen and a wide receiver, and we're not even into the second round yet. Can you pick up another Carson Schwessinger? Again, I know it's defense, but the Browns only play 2 real linebackers, right? And everybody loves Schwessinger. If you could get another one and on a rookie deal, doesn't matter if they don't have to be Sonny Styles from Ohio State or anything like that, but if you could get them and lineman and a wide receiver, and you already traded, you got your second tight end, right? That's another free agency we haven't talked about. Love Fanning. Come on, man.
Well, and I know we've talked about this, and I know how you feel, but I'm still hearing rumblings too about either early draft pick for a quarterback or a free agent quarterback as well. I keep hearing those rumblings.
A free agent, okay, but not early round. No, I can see Barry going, a developmental guy, 4 or 5, but Ty Simpson, no, you're just going to muddy the water.
I've been hearing 2 and 3, 2 or 3. I've been hearing.
No way. We give weapons, protect Shador, right? Because Shador is supposedly smart. Remember that. So it's not they want Shador to go 1-2, get rid of it. They like his processing, right? He had like 70% completion passage in college. That's one of the reasons why the Browns liked him. Now, try to ignore the fact that most of those were the check down, right? But again, 71% passage. We threw him out there last year with 7 games and not many offensive weapons. How about you protect him? How about you give him a healthy running back? Simpson, did you get a little bit bigger? Right? So we got Jenkins, Simpsons, 2 tight ends, and Tate.
Yeah. It might work. I've just been hearing the Browns aren't overly thrilled with. They basically think he's capped, right? And they weren't thrilled with some of his behind the scenes stuff that we don't get to see in the facility. But again, there's something that I don't think we'll know for a while whether the Browns, what they think about Shador. We won't know that right away until
No,
they make a
no,
move,
not at
really.
all. And Monken likes the type of quarterback Deshaun Watson is, although that's why we're talking about him, ESPN, is because Deshaun Watson is in the room and we have a new coach and our former starter quarterback, Shador Sanders, as much promise as there is. I hear with you about behind the scenes, but Gome, I saw plenty of tape where he's just missing wide open guys, you know, but again, give him an offensive line, give him a weapon that he can trust, right? Let him know, hey, Fanning will catch, right? Fanning will go across the middle and catch. Jenkins is tough. Simpson, get him some more time. Give Shador an offensive line that isn't second to worst.
Well,
And
that's
let's see if
another
he can make some
position.
plays.
That's another position. You talk about Fanning. Obviously we got rid of the Chief. Njoku is no longer. I'm sad that I don't get to say that when he catches a ball anymore, a touchdown.
Yep.
They
RIP.
did
Good
make
people.
they did make a free agent signing. Blake White was it? Not him, but they did make a free agent signing of Jack Stoll from the New Orleans Saints, who's a
Yes.
blocking first tight end.
There you go.
So I mean, yeah, that's a big thing to have. But I think I still would like to have another pass catcher somewhere out there that can kind of fill the Chiefs' void, if you will. But Fanning's come along, so I'm not, I'm hoping they can get somebody else in there. But I do like the blocking tight end because that helps our running game, right?
100%. I'm with you. Fanning can catch. Fanning, I think, has a decent run block, but this guy from the Saints, right, who was, I think, also with Philly and the Giants, you need to fill that spot, right? And I will miss Njoku, but let's be honest, Njoku's best year was when Flacco was here, and that's when we had a quarterback who was, shall we say, above mediocre. And if it's not Flacco throwing to Njoku, I didn't see that many plays. And remember when the Chief first came to the Browns, right? They critiqued him a lot on his blocking. And so in his first couple of years, he fixed it. And I couldn't agree with you more. He got better, and I wish he could stay. He looked phenomenal under Flacco. But hey, man, it's a business, and the amount of money he was getting paid.
Now there were
Best of
rumors
luck
that
to you, though.
behind the scenes something happened with him and Stefanski, and that Stefanski didn't like him, which I think is fascinating by this week because the Falcons' first signing was Austin Hooper, former Brown. That was actually Stefanski's first signing when he came here. So I do think that was interesting because I do think Njoku should have played more, especially this last year. I feel like he made that fantastic catch in the end zone where he got hurt against the Titans, I believe. I do think he's just an athletic guy that I'm sad to see go. I really am. But Fanning's going to take his place, and hopefully we can go forward from here.
I
And we
agree. And
also did,
Fanning is from Ohio,
yeah,
right?
Bowling Green. Well,
Bowling
yeah,
Green.
Bowling Green. And then, of course, we did sign a big linebacker, Quincy Williams from the New York
Yes.
Jets.
Yes, and I like that pick, but I know you know that, so I want to hear what your thoughts are first. Williams over
Well,
Bush. What do you think?
it's tough because Bush did a really good job last year. I was really impressed with Bush, and I hate to say that because he is from that school
Some
up
school
north.
up north, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's when we saw him not be able to cover pass coverage, right? That's why I didn't mind when he went in the NFL. I was like, you guys take him. He can't cover the pass. He did a great job for the Browns, but that was as a run game, right? His passing, I mean, it got better, but still,
Then
that's what
he
Williams
had
is better at.
he had a few interceptions. Didn't he? Am I thinking of someone else that was a leader of the team in interceptions?
Bush had some, but again, I think it
Yeah.
was more like luck and stuff. And again, but I wish he would have stayed. But what the Bears paid him, good for you. Good for you, Bush. Go. We got Williams. I like this. I think it's an upgrade. I think the offensive line, like we said before, even though if you haven't heard about him, 2-time Pro Bowler, right? That's what you want to hear, right? And yeah, they're getting close to 30, but not all of them. And yeah, I'm sorry. I took that over, but I like all their moves. I like the linebacker move. And I don't know if I'm jumping ahead. Ronnie Hickman, right? The safety.
Yeah.
I love that tender, but
He was
tell me more about
second
the
round
linebacker.
tender. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean he was a Pro Bowler a year or two ago. So I mean, obviously he's a good player. So he hopefully can fill the shoes of Bush and can kind of continue what we do, especially if we got Hickman on the second round tender. again, I just want to keep that defense together because it'll be easier to rate, right, our defensive coordinator on how he does if you kind of have the same people together. Now, I've heard this again, and it scares me about getting rid of Denzel Ward, possibly trading him. That scares me because the Browns need him. He's a great corner. He's getting a little bit old, maybe a little bit too much pay, but I think the Browns need to keep him on the field, and I'm really hoping that they will.
No, I agree with you on that. Keep them. I think the idea of a trade is really just more, the national news pundits trying to make a story because the Browns are known for always restructuring contracts. This is getting into free agency, so this is the perfect time to tell everybody that the Browns restructure, and Denzel Ward's is one of the higher contracts, so it makes sense to restructure that. And I think that's really where they're going, right? They're restructuring contracts so that they have money to spend. And I'm hoping that that's what it is with Denzel Ward. The second point I have on that is then don't be surprised, Gomes, if they pick a cornerback in the first or second round. I like, what's his name, Jenkins, right? And that the guy we traded for Newsom. He seems to be fine, and he's under contract for a couple of years. But I would not mind another stud cornerback, just like I wouldn't mind another linebacker, right? Let's shut down the opponent's offense, right? Ward, you just said it, and I heard a pundit say it the other day. When Ward's on the field, half the field is gone. Isn't that what you want to hear?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
put Schlesinger and another stud linebacker, then you got half the field plus the middle of the field. Then you got Myles Garrett with a Graham coming up. Come on, man. That's some good defense.
Plus, another one of the, to me, a big signing, Corey Bojorquez.
The punter, love him.
Our punter.
Love him.
I love it. I think his wife's on TikTok and she posted after the season about leaving Cleveland, how hard it was. And I'm like, well, don't.
Yeah.
Stay here.
Well, he didn't have the best numbers, I think, if you compare to the league, but good enough. I'm happy he's back. And it seemed like I saw the post where he said that the boys are back, right? The long snapper, the punter, the kicker. So
yeah.
that shows some camaraderie. I never had a problem with the guys. So, yeah, man, good. Stay in Cleveland. Your wife loves Cleveland. That alone is pretty rare.
Yeah, so I'm excited to have him back, just to keep working on how to say his name. Bojorquez. I want to say it like that, but
We'll definitely give you that charge. I will just call him the punter.
we'll get there.
But a good free agency, wouldn't you say? I mean, we needed offensive line help. We got it. We were worried about losing Bush. We did. Again, no hard feelings. Do well. I love Barry's replacement. We got the tight end we need. By the way, speaking of tight ends, this draft is big, not only in offensive line, which we need, wide receiver, which we need, but a tight end, which do we need? Think about it, right? So now can we focus on offensive line, wide receiver, and maybe a super stud defensive guy that falls through the crack? Because that's some good re-rostering, man, especially if you can get a wide receiver in Tate and then get another one in the fourth round, right? And then Jerry Jeudy becomes the number 2, right? And Tillman, hey, stay healthy. We'll put you in the red zone. Right? And what's the other guy they got from Texas last year? It was really fast. Hey, man, win the spot. You know what I mean? But what if that happened? Judy is our number 2 because we got Tate as number 1 and another super stud at 3. Awesome tight ends, awesome running back, and a revamped offensive line. Can we get 7 more points a game on average and tell the defense just keep doing what you're doing? Because what's that a turnaround game-wise? What, we won 5? If I just said that, right, that we get more out of the offense and keep the defense, aren't we winning more than 5 games?
Yeah, I'd say so. I would say so.
Then we're on the right track, baby.
Well, I do. Is this breaking news? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I just missed it. But I just saw, yeah, I think this is breaking news. And, we gave myself some credit the other day when the Guardians signed Reese Hoskins because I called it. But yes. I have to give you now credit because you called this one. Kyler Murray to the Vikings.
There we go. That was an easy one. That was what is the deal? You said just broke. What was I bet nothing, right? Because Arizona's still paying him all that money.
Yeah, it's a 1-year deal.
League minimum, I think, is 1 million, right? But he still gets paid from Arizona, I bet. So yeah, go to
Yeah, so I
Minnesota,
think
give you
he's
a year
I
in a
think he's getting the league
dome,
minimum. I think.
in a dome, right? Where in Arizona was a dome, but for a totally
Yeah,
different reason.
right.
Minnesota could be cool to see. Kyler Murray and Jefferson, right? That's the pro. You can't let Jefferson, you can't let those years just tick away. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? When you've got that kind of a wide receiver. So Kyler Murray, I think, can still fling it. They got a wide receiver up there. That could be some good football.
yeah. I don't think we've seen the Jay Jefferson that we've seen the last few years. I don't think we've seen the one that we should, because he kind of disappeared this last year.
Well, they're
And
quarterback problems, right? JJ
yeah,
McCarthy
yeah,
hurt the first year, second year comes in, maybe not so good. And then they're dealing with all these backups and stuff like that. I mean, isn't Kirk Cousins going to be free, right? He's going to be let out of
should
his
be.
Atlanta contract. Holy moly. What if he goes from the backup to Atlanta to the backup to Minnesota, where he had the best season of his life and he just happens to win over the spot? Oh,
Yeah,
the,
so Atlanta now has Penix, Kirk
yep,
Cousins, and
yep.
Tua.
Well,
So it'll be
again, I,
interesting to
I
see who they get
think
rid of
Kirk
there.
Cousins is going to leave.
Well,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, I do
he's
think
going
so.
to leave.
I do think so too.
But yeah, with Tua, you're right. Tua went down there to Atlanta, and he's got our old offensive coordinator. Begins with a C, but he was supposed to be a super stud. Don't they have running back? Was it Robinson down in
Bijan,
Atlanta?
yeah, yeah,
So
who single handedly sunk my fantasy season this last year when I needed to win the game, and single handedly eliminated me from the playoffs. But
so you would agree that's a good running back.
absolutely, he put up like 30 points in like 3 straight games. He was insane there at the end of the year.
Man, Kevin Stefanski goes to Atlanta without an established quarterback, and he pulls off the impossible, and everybody in Cleveland's like, you know why? Because that would track. That would track.
Oh, that tracks. That tracks.
But I am excited about the free agency. I think they've done pretty well, and I think it follows Barry's track record, right? Of he doesn't like to be pigeonholed into a clear, first pick. I need to fill this area, like offensive line versus wide receiver. That's three offensive linemen and a tight end. So, but there's so many wide receivers going. The national pundits are saying you will get a starter in the fourth round.
You should, yeah,
So
yeah.
then what other positions do you need?
Speaking of that, I did see again. Well, I mean, it's not any surprise to us. This is not breaking news, but the it was reported today by I think Mary Kay Cabot that Browns are looking to trade Dylan, our third round pick from last year. Again, not a surprise. I think that's the
Not a
right thing to do. But
surprise. And
yeah,
you know what? They're doing Dylan a favor, right, Gone?
yeah,
Because he's
yeah.
not he had his shot, if you want to call it that. I still think Dylan Gabriel's tailor made to be some kind of coach. So he'll be in the NFL for a couple of years, but his brain, right? They called him the computer, right? Give him a chance to sit by. Maybe he's Sam Darnold in a couple of years, even though he's that short. But yeah, they got to let him go. He's not going to make it. It's not going to be good for energy. Bring in, like I said, a fourth or fifth rounder that's a developmental. You don't need another veteran because you already got Watson there. And as far as I'm concerned, that guy's a head case, right? You see the pictures of him in the back of the locker room on the days where Flacco won. Like
No,
he's picture speaks a thousand words, right? And I think that was a real challenge, is just dealing with these quarterback rooms. And I'm kind of excited for Stefanski to see what he can do, where he doesn't have that Watson thing hanging over his head. Let's be clear, folks. Denver had Russell Wilson hanging over his head. They got rid of him. Miami, Tua, they got rid of him. Only Cleveland will keep little cowboy train wreck like Deshaun Watson. And Gomer, if I may, that tracks.
well, I never blame the Browns. To me, it's always hard to pay that much money for someone, and then not like if I'm paying you, you're doing something, whether you're running practice or what, just doing practice and not playing the games. Man, that's a lot of money. But I think
Are
they
you
said
saying
wasn't when
pick up the cones, Watson? That's what we're paying
right,
you, right?
right,
If you're going to
right.
be on the team,
Set
pick
up the
up the
cones.
cones.
That's yeah, I do say that. I am saying that for sure. But I think they said they didn't Tua set the record for the most like dead space when a quarterback was cut or something.
Brother, I was just waiting to say 99.2 million in 1 year. That's why the Browns are cutting it up, right? It's because they can't handle 90 million in 1 year. But Miami, 99.2. Denver did it with Russell. So again, all I can say is only in Cleveland, and that tracks. So we had good, decent free agency. Is there anything else you're looking for in free agency? Is there somebody you're looking for? Somebody you're looking at? Because a lot of people are off the board, but not all of them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe again, I don't know. I don't have any specific player. I think anything from here would be a nice surprise for sure. I maybe one more lineman or Batonio coming back. That's my ultimate goal is just have the Batonio coming back. That's ultimately what I would love because again, if Batonio comes back or we get one more lineman, our line is set. Or not set, but we're in a good spot. So we
Much
don't
better
feel
than
like we necessarily need to make that first pick a lineman. We could they could still do it, but it just gives them the versatility to do whatever they wanted. Best player available.
No, I like it. I think Walker from Green Bay, the left tackle, is still available, but that's because he was like a seventh round pick, and there aren't much left tackles, which again makes me think about the draft and how there's less left tackles. And can we get one of the two or three? And I'll be happy. Right. We need a left tackle. Right. Dwan Jones, I love you when you're healthy, buddy. You know what I mean? Yes, you are a man mountain, and I wish you nothing but the best. Speaking of man mountain, speaking of the draft, doesn't Miami have? Is it Miami? I think it's Miami. Has a lineman not going to go in the top 10 like we're talking about. So somebody different, but a mountain, I think, is expected to go in the third or fourth round. And hey, again, let's get linemen. Let's get depth. Let's do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, because we saw how many injuries were on our line this last year. By the end of the season, we were on our like fourth string just because everyone got hurt. And
Remember our center? I'm sorry to cut you. Remember our center? We were like on our fourth string center by like day four, by like game 4. Sorry,
yeah,
that's a good example. The center again. You're another captain on the field.
yeah, yeah. So depth won't hurt us, right? And instead of like it was the Baker Mayfield meeting his lineman in the huddle for the first time during that one game. So hopefully we can avoid that and just hopefully. And I don't know. We've seen a lot of injuries the last few years with the Browns. I don't know if it's the physical trainer or whatnot. Just seeing a lot of weird injuries. So I'm hoping that we get a good strength coach, a good physical trainer down there. Just keep them healthy, guys, so that if they bend a little bit, they're still okay. I'm hoping that happens with the new coaching change. I don't know.
Absolutely. And we need depth, and let's go. Let's keep these guys healthy and keep going, Barry. Keep getting more
Yes.
linemen. Keep getting depth. Let's do some rotation. Right? When Jim Schwartz got here, you fixed up the defense. God bless you. You fixed up the defensive line. Good job. But you helped Jim Schwartz rotate. Right? That was the thing. Jim Schwartz was always big on defensive tackles, getting some people you can rotate. Gome, until about a week ago, we didn't have anybody to put out there to begin with, let alone rotate. So I think it's a good start. We mentioned the linebacker, even the punter, but Ronnie Hickman, a full-time starter as safety, restricted free agent tender. I think it's a second rounder. So if anybody wants to take him, right, we're going to get at least a second rounder. And for safety, I just think that's good business. And I like Ronnie Hickman. I hope he stays. But I tell you what, you're going to take Hickman. We get a second rounder, and we're only paying him 3.5 million. Oh my gosh. For those people that hate Barry, this is a good example of smart moves, in my opinion. What do you think, Go?
No, absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you 100% on this. It doesn't hurt, right?
No, you got to have depth. Got
Right.
rotate depth. You were talking about the strength conditioning coaches. We're getting more hurt. Yeah. So good point. Who's our strength coach and who's our depth? Can't get strong enough depth wise. But I like the moves. And if free agency's not over, we still got the draft. Remember, 3 picks. right? In the first 39, those should be 3 starters.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And hopefully, I'm hoping they're all offensive line of the ball, just because I want to see our offense improve.
It's
And
gotta
your
get better.
defense is in a good spot. I'd always like certain players in certain positions, but we hopefully improve our offense. That's my main goal for the draft. And
Love
then
it.
hopefully we can grow these players and become a Super Bowl contender.
All while watching the Guardians/Tribe defeat all of those rich market teams, right? And still get in the playoffs. That would
That's
be
right.
cool.
That's right.
Like we saw
But
last year. Tribe in the playoffs.
well, what I want to do too for the NFL draft is I think I want to do my own like a little mock draft to see how accurate I can get, because you see like Mel Kiper's never more than 50% correct. So I
Is
want to
that right?
see. I mean, I usually after I'll print out some of the mock drafts, and then I'll go and I'll compare to actually what happened. Now trades always mess things up because you can never really predict a trade. So, but they're 50% is usually the top. If you get 50%, if Mel Kiper gets 50%, then he's usually doing okay. But he doesn't even get there close sometimes. Well, that's why maybe I'll try my own hand at it and see what I can come up with.
Well,
I
there
don't
you
know.
go. How about we ask our audience, should Gome do his own NFL mock draft and compare it to Mel Kiper and just see how close our buddy Gome gets? Can he beat Mel Kiper? I love this idea. I think you got to do it. I
I'm
won't
gonna
put
do
you
it.
on
I'll
the.
do it.
You're doing it? All right. First round
Yeah.
or second round, or what do you feel
Well,
comfortable with?
no, I'm not. I'm not doing 7 rounds. I'll do first round.
Okay,
I'll do
first
first round.
round
Yeah.
NFL draft. You're gonna make. I love it. I love it. And we will.
It's gonna be horrible, but they all are. So
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Mel Kiper has like dropped 7.0. How many are you gonna have? Maybe we compare your first or second versus his first or second,
yeah, there we go. There we go.
or
I
your
can.
first to his seventh.
There you go.
I love this idea. I want you to win. Give me a call. I'll help you fill it out if I can. You need somebody to talk ideas. I love it. Gome v. Mel Kiper. Love it.
Let's go.
I
Let's go.
love it. I love it.
So tune in for our draft episode, and we'll be going over that, and then going over the results, of course, after the draft on how we do. So tune in, follow, like, subscribe, whatever you have to do. Happy hour in the land at gmail.com. You can write your own little draft, maybe top 10 or whatever to us.
Tell us who you think is the best, right? Because I've been saying offensive line, but now that we got these 3 offensive linemen, I'm okay. I can change my mind, right? Pro Bowl center from Green Bay, 2 guards. That means it's tackle, people. And it's wide receivers. Give me Tate. Give me that tackle at 24. We can do this. And now Gome is going to show up Mel Kiper. Tell us who you think is going to win by Mel Kiper versus Gomer, because I know who I'm betting on. That's right. Man in the red right there. Love it.
Yeah,
Gomer.
like I said, tune in next. I don't know about next time, but one of these episodes we'll have it. So tune in for that. But just keep tuning in. That's all I ask, because this is Happy Hour in the Land, and we want to have you back. I think that'll do for us. You have any final thoughts?
I got to ask you, Gomer, how was your shanty? Right? You're trying to get in the summer mode, right? How has your shanty been?
This did it. Now, this did it. The Market Garden summer lemon shandy was really good.
And there you go, folks. Northeast Ohio. My man's got your drinks. If you're not a big beer guy, I love beer, but doctor said I got to lay off. So whiskey and old fashioned, I'm your guy. Thanks for tuning in. Tell us your favorite recipes. How about that too? Is Gomer going to win?
Yeah.
Who should we draft? And what is your favorite recipe? And I'm not scared. I'll try it online. Maybe we'll try it together. And you'll get more than one vote on your favorite drink recipe here at Happy Hour.
Yep. Happy Hour in the Land at gmail.com. Send it right away.
Gome, it's been great talking to you again, my friend.
Yeah, same here. Thank you. Thanks to everyone that's watching. I love it. We'll be back again. So again, like, subscribe, hug, give me a hug if you want. So, we'll be back. This is Happy Hour in the Land. I'm Gomer. That's Professor. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys soon. See ya.
Hey.